Welcome to the Pricing Lady podcast, where smart business owners price with purpose and profit with clarity. I'm Janene, your hostess. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that has come about because I keep getting the same question over and over. It comes in slightly different formats and from a lot of different areas. Here's two examples. I was giving a talk at coaching.com to about 120 coaches, and someone wrote in the chat, seeing people lose their jobs, they're struggling financially, should we lower our prices? And then in a completely different group, a group of startups focused on the sustainability sector, I got the question, investments are down in sustainability budgets are constrained, should we lower our prices? Same question, completely different context. And I keep seeing this pop up all over the place. The desire to do this comes from a good place. You're concerned about clients. You want to be fair to people. You want to stay relevant in the marketplace. And it's important that we acknowledge, yes, some people are genuinely struggling. It's real and we don't want to dismiss it. But when they're asking the question, they're looking for something different. The real question they want to know the answer to is it okay if I hold my prices right now? Let's take a look at how we can answer these two questions. First of all, the assumption here, or the premise underneath the question is, if people are struggling, shouldn't prices come down? It feels like the right thing to do. It keeps you competitive, relevant, fair. You fit in with what you think everybody else is doing. But there are a few things that you want to take into consideration. So first of all, just because people are struggling doesn't mean the value of your offer has changed. In fact, it's the context around that has changed. Now, people's perception of the value may have shifted. You're also making a decision for the customer about what they can and cannot afford before you've even had the conversation. So you're adjusting or considering to adjust your prices based on assumptions that you haven't tested. And earlier, I very deliberately said that some people are struggling because the reality is it's not everyone, it's some people. And it may even in your business be a larger proportion of people. Let's say you're a career coach, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you need to do. There are better ways to meet struggling customers where they are rather than just dropping prices. Now, let's think about this for a moment in terms of the consequences of just lowering your prices. If nothing else changes but the price, the offer is the same, the positioning is the same, the target client is the same, then you just have a smaller number. To make the same revenue with that number, you'll need to bring more clients in. And in a shrinking market, that is a relatively difficult thing to do because there are simply fewer people purchasing things, and or people are being much more selective about what they're spending their money on. If you do manage to get more clients, then you have a heavier workload to manage while earning less per client. Again, if you didn't change anything in the offer. Now, depending on how far you drop, it can also have an impact on how people perceive the value of what you're offering, right? A negative impact. Again, you have to be careful and weigh the consequences of making that reduction in price. Generally, as I said before, dropping a price in a shrinking market will not bring you enough volume to make up for it so that you're earning about the same money as you would before or more. This is a misnomer even in a non-shrinking market that dropping prices makes customers magically buy. If you tried it, you've probably seen that it doesn't work quite the way you expected. Under normal circumstances, it's hard to do, and in a shrinking market, it's almost impossible. One of the things that you can do is do the math. Now, if you're going to be dropping prices, if you still think that's the right thing to do, then I want you to go to my website, thepricinglady.com, and check out my pricing toolkit. We'll put the link in the show notes. And I want you to do the numbers. In there, there's a price change calculator. It's the third calculator in there, the one at the bottom. And I want you to take a look at how much volume you would need to have, or how many more clients, if you're a service-based business, how many more clients you would need to have in order to still break even. And you're going to see some pretty surprising numbers there. Straight up math, but it's very interesting and very telling about what it really means for your business. Because we have to remember that being fair means not just being fair to the client, but also being fair to you. As I said before, if your business starts suffering and struggling as a result of just dropping your prices, then it's going to be harder for you to serve your clients in the way that you want to. In essence, it doesn't do either one of you any good. One of the things that I talk about a lot with my clients is something I call the price value scale. If you think of a balance or a scale, right? And on one side you have price and on the other side you have value. Most people's response when they get a no to their offer or they feel that their price is being rejected, their knee-jerk reaction is, oh, let's drop the price, right? That's what I need to do. I can only adjust the price. But in reality, if you play on the value side of that scale, you have a lot more options. So it goes like this. If someone says, oh, that's too expensive, and you play on the price side, you have one option. You can drop the price. But if you play on the value side, you can change the offer, you can take things out, you can add things in, you can do a lot of different things on the value side. And that's where I want you to get creative and start thinking, because I think this is where the real opportunity is. Look at, does my offer need to change? If the context around the offer, the original offer you have has changed, maybe what clients are willing to spend has shifted, what they want or what they need in an offer has shifted. For example, bring in a lower value, lower priced offer alongside your core offer. Something for people who can't or aren't willing to pay full price right now, or who don't need as much value as maybe your normal offer brings. That gives you the opportunity for the people who can and are willing to still get that other offer from you. But for those who aren't willing or can't spend that much right now, you have an option for them. The bigger question here is this the right offer for those clients where they are right now? And oftentimes when people think what they should do is lower the price, what they should actually do is adjust the value. There's one other point I'd like to make before I wrap this up, and that is that there are ways to serve clients with less means that don't require you to lower your price for direct business. Think about, are there support organizations for certain demographics of your customer where you could offer through that organization support to a bigger audience under those special circumstances? For example, if there's a support organization that supports job seekers right now, that might be a way to go and approach them with a special offer at a price that makes sense for those group of people who are struggling a bit more. So, should you lower your prices when clients are struggling? I think the answer to that question is very clear, not automatically. That's not where your thinking should go in the first place. Holding your prices isn't necessarily unfair, and lowering your prices doesn't make you care more. It might be making things more difficult for you and for your clients down the road. Think about how you can play on the value side of that scale, how you can adjust your offers to meet the changing needs of the clients that are out there. That's all for today. Struggling clients don't need a lower price. They need the right offer. Figure out which one that is, price it properly, and go get paid.